Paranormal Activity. The house had been empty for almost 3 years before Daniel and Emily moved in. It wasn't a mansion, just an old 2-story home with creaking floors and peeling wallpaper. But to the young couple, it was perfect. A fresh start, a chance to build their life together. The neighbors had whispered things when they first arrived. Daniel caught fragments of conversations while unloading boxes, strange sounds. No one stays long. Things happen at night. Emily had noticed the looks too, but she laughed them off. "It's just a house," she said. "Houses don't hurt people." For the first week, nothing happened. They settled in, unpacked, and tried to ignore the drafts that seemed to curl through the halls, no matter how tightly the windows were shut. Then, on the 8th night, Emily woke at 3:07 a.m. to the sound of footsteps upstairs. But no one lived upstairs. She shook Daniel awake, and together they crept to the staircase. The house was silent, the darkness thick as tar. Daniel checked every room, even the attic, but found nothing. They returned to bed uneasy, convincing themselves it had been the house settling. The next night, it happened again. Same time, 3:07 a.m., and the same slow, deliberate footsteps pacing just above their bedroom. Emily refused to go upstairs this time. Daniel went alone, flashlight trembling in his hand. Still nothing. By the 3rd night, the sound wasn't footsteps anymore. It was scratching. Something clawing at the floorboards overhead, as if trying to dig its way out. That morning, Daniel suggested setting up cameras. He wasn't superstitious, but his background in IT made him curious about unexplained things. Emily hesitated, but eventually agreed. They bought 2 small cameras and placed them. One in their bedroom, one in the upstairs hall. That night, they waited. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the scratching began again. Emily clutched Daniel's arm, whispering, "It's happening." He checked the live feed on his laptop. The upstairs hallway showed nothing at first, only still shadows. Then, faintly, the image flickered. Something moved across the hall. Not a person, more like a shadow without a body. It glided along the wall, stretching, bending, pausing at the top of the staircase as if listening. Then, in the grainy camera view, it turned. Though it had no face, both of them felt it looking directly at them. The feed cut to static. Emily screamed. From then on, each night was worse. The shadow grew bolder, appearing not just upstairs, but in their bedroom feed, hovering near the foot of the bed. Some mornings, they woke to find objects moved, chairs pushed into different rooms, kitchen drawers pulled open, photographs face down. On the 11th night, Emily woke to a whisper. A woman's voice, low and broken, repeating a single word, "Leave." The whisper didn't come from the hall, but from the corner of the bedroom. Daniel jumped from bed and shone the flashlight. The corner was empty, yet the whisper continued until suddenly, violently, the lamp beside the bed shattered. Emily began to change after that. She slept less. her eyes ringed with dark circles. She said she felt someone watching her constantly, even in daylight. Sometimes she froze mid-task, her head tilted, as though listening to something Daniel couldn't hear. One night, he found her standing barefoot in the hallway at 3:07 a.m., staring at the staircase. Her lips moved soundlessly. When he touched her shoulder, she spun around with a look that wasn't hers, her eyes wide, cold, and unfamiliar. "Don't touch me," she hissed in a voice deeper than her own. Daniel pulled her back into bed, shaking. She remembered none of it the next morning. Desperate, he contacted the neighbors. An older woman named Mrs. Carter finally told him what the whispers had been about. Years ago, a family had lived there, a husband, wife, and their daughter. The wife had complained of strange noises, of waking to find the child standing at the end of their bed. One night, the mother vanished. No trace, no explanation. The husband moved away with the daughter soon after, leaving the house to rot. Daniel told Emily, but she refused to leave. "This is our home," she said firmly. "We can't run from shadows." That night was the worst. At 3:07 a.m., the cameras caught movement again. The shadow didn't linger in the hall this time. It entered the bedroom. The air grew thick and icy, their breaths visible in the dark. The shadow loomed at the foot of the bed, stretching taller and taller until it touched the ceiling. Emily sat up, her eyes blank. She whispered, "It's here." Daniel tried to pull her close, but an unseen force yanked her from the bed, dragging her across the floor. She screamed, clawing at the carpet, while Daniel lunged to grab her arms. His fingers slipped through hers as she was pulled into the hallway, the bedroom door slamming shut behind her. He beat at the door, shouting her name, until suddenly the screaming stopped. Silence. When he finally forced the door open, Emily was gone. The hallway stretched ahead, dark and empty. He searched the entire house, but there was no trace of her, only the faint smell of burning and the distant sound of scratching beneath the floorboards. The police never found her. Daniel stayed in the house for 3 more nights, convinced she would come back. He left the cameras running, watching the feeds obsessively. On the 3rd night, at exactly 3:07 a.m., he finally saw her again. She was standing in the upstairs hallway, barefoot, her nightgown torn. But her face was wrong, distorted, her mouth too wide, her eyes black as coal. She tilted her head at the camera, and though the feed was silent, Daniel swore he saw her lips form the word, "Stay." Then the shadow swallowed her whole. Daniel fled the house that night and never returned. The property stands empty again now, its windows dark, its doors locked. But neighbors say that if you walk past at 3:07 a.m., you can see lights flicker on upstairs. Sometimes a figure watches from the window, too tall, too dark to be human. And sometimes, if you're unlucky, you'll hear the scratching.